So the first question that we want to look at is, who will we teach? When we start a literacy ministry, we have to look at that question, who's going to be the target audience? So what are your thoughts about who we teach?
Yeah, we teach everybody cross section, people who cannot read and cannot write, and in getting them, we look for areas where there is a need, high need for literacy, where there's a high percentage of illiteracy, and we zoom in on these areas. Yeah.
Another thing to always keep in mind is to teach in the mother tongue first. Yeah. Many times people ask us, well, which language should we start teaching in? Because in a lot of countries, you're dealing with hundreds and sometimes thousands of languages.
Yeah.
And so it's always the temptation to start teaching the trade language first, or even sometimes English when people don't actually know English, or maybe even the trade language well.
Yeah, you're right. I think that the best, in fact, from experience, the best way is to start in the mother tongue. That is the language that each person speaks. You know, you grow up learning and speaking that language. And so it's best to start with the mother tongue and then to the trade language, and later on you can move on to English or any other foreign language. And that way it helps. They're able to get it better, and transition into other languages becomes very easy for them. We've had people who have learned to read and write in their mother tongue and have gone on into the trade language and to English, and they have fantastic testimonies to give on that.
So oftentimes learning to read in the trade language and also learning English is the motivation or the incentive that you give the student.
Yeah.
Once you do this, then you can move on.
You can be able to move on to the next one.
So the second question we want to ask is, what is our emphasis? What's the focus of our ministry?
The focus is one, for us in Literacy and Evangelism Ghana, our aim is to win souls for Christ. But then we use literacy in the mother tongue as the means, as we teach these people who cannot read and write, then we're able to identify their needs, their spiritual needs, and then lead them to Christ. By the time that we finish the program, they go through the literacy classes, they would have been exposed to Christ, and then for those who already know Christ, would have been firmly grounded in the Word of God.
Yeah, and that's always our number one goal, is that people would read the Word of God in their heart language. Yeah. But many times what we've experienced is that if you go into a community where maybe there are not a lot of believers, or there's no church, a lot of times people are lacking motivation to even learn how to read. And they're not Christians, so they really don't want to learn to read the Bible either. And so just to give you a couple examples, in Guatemala, for instance, there's a partner organization that we have there that's doing literacy, and what they're doing is promoting sewing classes and singing classes, but the context of that is also teaching them how to read while they're teaching them how to sew, or teaching them how to read while they're teaching them to sing in their mother tongue. And so those are some creative ideas to find other emphases outside of just let's learn to read so you can read the Bible. So that helps to motivate people.
Yeah. We have a similar thing in Ghana, and we're looking at trade people who learn how to sew. You know, some go, they have no idea about reading that, but you have to take measurements, write people's names as they bring their materials to you, etc. And so there is a whole big organization, Ghana Tailors and Dressmaking Association, who have approached us in Ghana to be able to help train their apprentices in learning how to read and write, so that they could also read and take measurements and be able to write names and whatever details of whatever materials they give to them. So that is something that we have also been exposed to in Ghana.